So yeah, this is my second matchup of this GAC round, and there's a little bit of a spoiler showing the kind of result of his attacks there. But this guy has kind of a scary looking roster, although it's not near as high as some of the other people I've beaten. But he does have a GL that I knew he was going to place on defense, and he doesn't really place like the strongest Sith Eternal team. And I know occasionally you can kind of like two shot him or have a team take him out, but based on what he puts on defense and kind of the rest of the stuff he had, I didn't think I would need to do that, and I thought it would be safer to basically just play half of a GAC. So I put all of my really strong teams on defense and kept just enough to get through what I saw he put on defense. Because a lot of his stuff, like he had high level mods and he would like slice them up on his stronger characters. But you'll see here, like on this Old Republic team, he just has no speed. And that was apparent even in his high end teams. He didn't really know how to mod. Like he knew they should be high level. So he had a lot of yellow, six, like 6 dot mods that were sliced all the way up to yellow. Like his Darth Revan had a full set of those, but he had only had like 210 speed. His gas had decent mods, but I think he just got lucky that he sliced up some mods with speed on them. So I wasn't real scared of any of his defenses because I kind of knew what he was going to place. He always places this stuff. So I went really heavy on defense. And then he doesn't have Negotiator or Malevolence. So I actually put my Negotiator on defense, and it ended up not even mattering because, as you saw, he doesn't clear any of my zones. My plan was to push him topside, and then hopefully he'd get stuck behind my ships. So if I could take out, this top zone and then the ships, which I thought I could do, I would win. And it ended up being even easier than that because he couldn't clear all my strong defenses. So yeah, this is just pretty simple. It's a really bad Old Republic team. I don't have the benefit of your OG Kylo soloing this,
Oh yeah.
which would be nice. And admittedly, I didn't. I just assumed Geos would be fine here because the Old Republic doesn't really do anything too crazy, and they were all super slow. Um, but I don't really use Geos on offense that much, which is kind of odd because I know they're kind of falling out of favor on defense because everybody's got Vader or Darth Treya, um, or just a lot of things to go against Geos, and mine are all just Gear 12, so they're really not anything exceptional. Um,
I don't
like I
know.
said,
I
I just went
mean,
pretty heavy.
like,
Yeah,
it's kind of a good strategy to keep them, especially since yours are all Gear 12. They can punch up really heavy, and like you said, everybody has Vader now, so it becomes a free like high banner win if you place them on defense. So I kind of like actually keeping them, especially since you
yeah,
can take out teams like this too with them.
yeah. I think I will start keeping them on offense more. I just honestly, it was a bit of a holdover from the like early to mid game realm where they can be really annoying and people may not have anything for them, especially if they don't have a Vader. And just because I really don't have enough teams to be in Erodium, a lot of times I might put them on like the back row and then put like all my crappy like Phoenix and Ewoks and stuff up front, hoping they throw a Vader or Traya or something at it,
Yeah.
and then they just don't have it. Um, and usually, if you've got a bunch of relic teams, you're probably going to have something to take them out. Here, so I really didn't need to do this. I knew I only needed to take out the top three um, like troop units. But again, since I saw the teams, I wasn't like super worried about them. I figured I could probably take
Oh
out all
wow.
five. Really was, yeah, I wasn't expecting Qui-Gon to die. And this, I guess, could have gotten a lot messier, but obviously Yoda just gets super yoked when Qui-Gon dies. And this is a weird, not typical Qui-Gon clear, but I've done stuff like this before where I'll use Bastila and Yoda because you can just use Bastila lead with Yoda, and that also can beat a lot of teams, and then even have another Qui-Gon team. So I've done that before where I've put like Qui-Gon with gas because his AoE just blows everything up. And then I can have like, I think what you're going to see here, yeah, JKR and Jolie and Hermit Yoda. You don't need Shak T. Again, I just threw her in because at this point I was like, it doesn't really matter. Like I think I'd be fine without it, but I just need to clear these teams. It doesn't matter how many banners I get. Like I don't need to be super efficient. I just need to win. And obviously I wasn't going to use Shak T anywhere else since I had already used my other Qui-Gon team. So you can potentially squeeze like 4 teams out of the traditional Jedi Knight Revan team, and Qui-Gon and Gas. if you need to. Didn't really need to here, and obviously I had gas on defense, which was sad because he didn't even attempt to take it out because he couldn't get through Darth Revan and CLS. And actually, I think this goes a little sideways because I didn't. I don't know. I didn't play it super well because I probably didn't take Night Sisters as seriously as I should have. Like I let him get a free revive there instead of taking out Daka first.
Yeah, that
Um,
that happens to me a lot when I play against Night Sisters. I either just assume it'll be a lot easier than it actually be, and it's an easy one to mess up for sure.
yeah, and they're a weird team because sometimes I can throw my like pretty bad bounty hunters at them, and it's fine. I admittedly, I think just because I don't see them as much and I don't have them, even though they'd be a good team to have for like a low GP roster because they can take out a lot of stuff and be kind of cheeky. I don't really understand them as much as I should. And they get a lot of speed and like a lot of turn meter that you don't really see. So see his ships just are
Oh
not
wow, yeah.
good. So yeah. Um, so I still have my limit 11s and everything. Yeah, I go Geos first. So I go with like kind of the traditional Vader approach. I can't take out GBA right away. And I think some people may do this different than I do it. I throw in these like Thrawn obviously is good, and my Thrawn should probably be higher star
Mine's
or
the
not
exact
star.
same.
Yeah, higher gear level. Like he's just low enough that every time I try to throw him into something and be like, oh yeah, I'll definitely be able to use this fracture and it'll be great. He always dies before I can fracture anybody. Um, so I should probably gear him up a little bit. But yeah, so I don't get any dots on GBA here, which is just sad.
Oh wow, yeah,
Um,
that is unlucky.
but with Geos, if you take out Spy, that's most of their damage gone, and then I can get another one out there, and I get a decent stun. Um, I don't know. This probably could have been done better, but his Geos also were slow like everything else. So again, and I think I knew I already had it won at this point, so I kind of was pretty lax. Didn't go super hard at it. But this is, I don't know, a counter people have probably seen a million times. Nothing
Oh,
too crazy. Like,
that's
yeah,
unlucky.
not really, because I get Fracture here, and then Vader just, boom. I had Vader at Relic 2 for a long time, and then I just got tired of losing to Geos, so I should probably have him Relic 7. He's Relic 5 now, and I haven't had any issues with that. And obviously, I have my Sith trio for like those beefy ones. This one, I honestly had no idea how this was going to go. And I probably shouldn't have thrown in Sith Empire Trooper here because obviously it's Boss Cleed, and my Sith Empire Trooper is going to taunt and is going to be the weakest target. So I was kind of just giving them the contract for no good reason. Even though, with Isolate, I don't think I should have done that. The Sith trio is like a team that I've just recently gotten geared up, so I'm getting used to figuring out how to use them. But yeah, so this maybe was not the ideal composition. Should have just used the three of them. It ends up going fine because I think they're just really slow, and the only thing I was really worried about was the Mando execute. But Nihilus gets his annihilate pretty quickly and just takes him out, and then it's just kind of a slow war of attrition from there. Yeah, like I said, I think
Why didn't
the
it
move.
use it right there?
Why didn't Mando use it?
Yeah.
I think his cooldowns must have been
Oh
increased,
yeah.
just because of Nihilus. I don't know. I guess that could have been really bad.
No, I think
um,
you're right. So that's actually a pretty good counter then if you're just able to do that. So it doesn't even
yeah,
matter if their contract goes off.
yeah. I don't know. I'd be interested to look into the mechanics of that more. Um, but yeah, it kind of. I don't know. The Sith Trio is such an interesting team on offense because they don't like obviously the faster they are, the better because the more turns Nihilus can take and everything. But he kind of just wants Traya and Scion to be beat on, and Scion already has his win condition. And you see how fast you get back around to another execute. Like I'm really enjoying them. It's a team. Um, I guess you kind of have to have been playing for a while or be in a good guild because Traya can take a little while. And she used to be harder to gear because you needed the little salt shakers, I think people call them. That was dumb. I don't think I got anything from that, but whatever. Um, you need a bunch of salt shakers or whatever, which used to be harder to get. But I think they come in challenges now. So they're really not that hard to gear, but I just got all of them to relics. So I'll be interested to see what other stuff I can take out with them. Because I don't really know at this point. But definitely, I think Nihilus gives you a lot of utility, and Treya too. Like I've seen Treya lead with like Nest to take out Geos and like the Mon Mothma team, and you can do a bunch of different things. But yeah, I kind of, like I said, I knew I had won it at this point, and I was like, oh, I'll try it. What the heck? Um, in hindsight, probably wouldn't have used Sith Empire Trooper, but it ended up not really mattering. Yeah, so this one was pretty easy.
I mean,
Um,
that is kind of a weird luck. Like, even though we are significantly lower GP, I've found that most people I'm going against have really bad mods. So you can kind of like just maybe misplay some or do some wins that might not normally work just simply because of mod quality. Like,
yeah,
like here, if these bounty hunters were a lot faster, that like using Sith Trooper might have been, detrimental. Like could have executed Treya or something.
yeah,
But I
for
mean,
sure.
your
Or like,
team was just insanely fast compared to theirs, so it didn't even matter.
yeah, and my Citra are not even fast at all. Like, I don't think any of them have 6E mods. Um, this is another battle. I was pretty sure it would be fine because his Executrix fleet was not very good. But you can see my Malevolence is only 5 stars. And I don't have like Vulture Droid or Hyena Droid at the moment. I'm farming them. And I guess at some point, I think I have them almost 6 stars. So I'll probably just go ahead and unlock them because I assume it'll make this easier. But I'm relatively new to using Malevolence. Like I get the mechanics, obviously, um, and yeah. But as you can see, like it gets going, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be pretty easy um, to deal with, and it's just, I don't know. I was a little worried about this one, but I had also kind of won the GAC at this point, and probably didn't really need to be worried about this at all. Um, yeah, I. It's nice actually having two fleets, especially when you face somebody like this who. It's pretty rare that I actually have an advantage on somebody in any capacity, but him not having either of the major fleets was a pretty big deal. And obviously, like 66 banners on fleets, I feel like is not great, especially when they have a bad fleet. And especially because I'm basically giving away 70 plus banners every time on the other side. Um,
Yeah, so
typically.
this is something that where we deviate in roster is you've actually sort of geared up your rebel fleet. Do you find that they can punch up pretty well?
So actually, surprisingly, I think it'll be interesting as we go up to Kyber now that they've announced you're going to use 3 fleets. Like, I'm definitely going to have to hold on to them, I think, for offense. But a lot of the times, I will not place them on defense because I'm worried that my Malevolence is not going to win. Um, like you actually saw in the first round of this GAC week, my Malevolence doesn't win. I could have used anything because I think I left the ship with like 5 health, but there have actually been a lot where I think I would have benefited from placing it on defense because it would have been a better defensive fleet. But I always kind of hold on to it because I'm like, well, if my negotiator fails on like a mirror matchup or my Malevolence fails, just have them in my back pocket. So I haven't really had to use them that much um, at all. But they are, I mean, I don't know. They're missing a couple of the like actual main ships that make them really, really good and would, get them into position where they could be like a negotiator counter, which I'll probably start working towards after I kind of finish up my Malevolence fleet. Just because I'm working towards Jedi Knight Luke and JML. But yeah, so this thankfully actually was a pretty easy week in Erodium 1 where I usually am severely outmatched. Like I said, I could have taken the approach of trying to take out his Sith Eternal because he didn't really put anything great with it. I just saw from looking at his previous GACs that I thought this was going to be the way to win. And even if he had like punched through my top zone and taken out my ships, I think I would have beaten him just because I predicted he would struggle pretty mightily with my tougher teams because they're all decently modded and his strong teams are not. And that ended up being a lot more true than I, even thought, because clearly he couldn't take out three of my five defensive teams. But yeah, this is again, you'll see it in a lot of videos probably, especially as we go up. Like this is just, it's kind of boring. It's you essentially get to watch half a GAC, but if you're gonna win, this is kind of the approach that works well a lot of times. Um, but yeah, so wrapped it up. Took me to 2-0 on this round, putting me into a matchup that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna lose. But you never know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and kind of on that point of playing half a GAC, I think that is probably the most common way we both have to almost every single round. Because I know, which we'll go into that when we show our accounts, but I just have to basically block one side with my GL and then try to out efficiency most people. So it's interesting, like you have to do a different approach of you don't have a GL, so you place Gas and Darth Revan and
Yeah,
CLS.
this
So
is, I haven't always had to do that, but it's typically like usually I'll keep gas just because sometimes people will have gas, or I know they'll put something on defense that I think I'm going to need to use gas for. But my version of blocking aside usually is like I'm just going to have to put three really, really strong defensive teams down that I don't think they'll be able to clear. Um, so you have it a little easier in that regard, but
yeah.
I have managed pretty well so far.
Well, awesome.
Yeah,
So we'll look at your second one in another video. But,
that was the second one.
well, I'll just